Who could be calling me by this time?
The phone started ringing at 3:07 in the morning. Margaret woke up instantly. Her heart began racing before she even reached for the phone. Calls at that hour usually meant something was terribly wrong. The phone kept ringing. She picked it up from the nightstand and looked at the screen. Her breath stopped. The caller ID showed a name she had not seen in 2 years. Daniel, her son, the son she buried. Her hands started shaking. For a moment, she thought she might still be dreaming, but the funeral had been real. She remembered the black clothes, the flowers, the closed coffin, and the priest saying the final prayers. Her son was dead, but the phone kept ringing. Margaret slowly answered the call. Hello? For a moment, there was only static. Then a voice came through the phone. Mom? Margaret sat straight up in bed. Her heart slammed against her chest. She knew that voice. Daniel. There was a brief pause. Then the voice answered. Yes, it is me. Tears filled Margaret's eyes. No, that cannot be possible. Daniel, you died. I buried you. I know, he replied. Margaret struggled to breathe. Then who is this? If this is some kind of a cruel joke, it is not funny. Mom, listen carefully. I do not have much time. Margaret held the phone tightly. Daniel, if this is really you, where are you? What is happening? Then he said something that made her blood run cold. Do not tell my wife that I am alive. Margaret blinked in confusion. Emily? Yes. Daniel, what are you talking about? She's been grieving for 2 years. She visits me every week. She cries whenever we talk about you. Daniel answered firmly. She is pretending. A chill ran down Margaret's spine. What do you mean? Emily tried to kill me. Margaret almost dropped the phone. That is impossible. I wish it were. Margaret tried to calm herself. 2 years earlier, Daniel had died in a terrible car accident. The police said his brakes failed and his car went over a mountain road. The damage to the car had been severe. The coffin stayed closed during the funeral. Margaret pressed her hand against her chest. Start from the beginning, she said. Daniel took a slow breath. A few months before the accident, Emily started acting strange. She made secret phone calls and stayed out late at night. One day, I found some documents in her desk. What documents? An insurance policy. Margaret frowned. How much money? $3 million. Margaret felt her stomach sink. She never told me about it, Daniel continued. The worst part is that my signature was on the document. Did you sign it? No. Margaret sat silently. Then the accident happened. What happened to the brakes? They failed completely. Margaret felt a wave of fear. I was driving home when the brake pedals suddenly went all the way down. Nothing happened. The car kept gaining speed. Oh no. I tried the emergency brake. It did not work. The road started sloping downhill. I thought I was going to die. What did you do? I aimed the car toward the guardrail and hoped it would stop the vehicle. Did it work? Not exactly. Margaret held her breath. The car crashed through the guardrail but got stuck halfway down the ravine. You survived? Yes, I climbed out. Margaret wiped tears from her face. But the police said your body was inside the car. That's the part you do not know. Margaret's heart pounded. When I crawled out of the car, a man was standing at the bottom of the road. A man? Yes. Who was he? I do not know, but he ran toward the car like he wanted to make sure I was dead. Margaret felt sick. Do you think Emily hired him? Yes. What happened next? My friend Marcus arrived. I had called him when the brakes failed. Margaret sighed with relief. Did he help you? Yes. How? Daniel paused for a moment. He said the only way to survive was to disappear. You mean fake your death? Yes. Margaret felt dizzy. But the body in the car? Daniel spoke calmly. It was the man Emily hired. Margaret froze. You mean he died instead? Yes. Margaret tried to process everything. Then Daniel spoke again. "Mom, I have to go." "Wait. Remember what I said." "What?" "Do not tell Emily." The call ended. Margaret stared at the phone. Her son was alive, and the woman she trusted might have tried to murder him. The next morning, Emily arrived at Margaret's house with a homemade pie. She looked calm and gentle just like always, the perfect grieving widow. "I thought we could have lunch together," Emily said with a smile. Margaret tried to act normal. They sat in the kitchen together. Then Emily said something that made Margaret uncomfortable. "I visited Daniel's grave this morning." Margaret looked up slowly. "There was fresh dirt on it," Emily continued. Margaret felt her heart pounding. "Maybe the cemetery workers were doing maintenance," she suggested. Emily hid her head. "I asked them. They said no one had been there." The room fell silent. Then Emily leaned forward slightly. "You seem nervous today, Margaret." Margaret forced a small smile. "I did not sleep well last night." Emily watched her carefully. "Sometimes I feel like Daniel might still be alive somewhere." Margaret's pulse grew louder in her ears. "That's just grief." "Maybe," Emily replied. Later that day, Margaret called Daniel again. "Emily is starting to ask questions," she said. "Then we're running out of time," Daniel replied. "What should we do?" "I'm sending someone to pick you up tonight." "Pick me up?" "Yes, it's time for you to see me." That night, a black SUV stopped outside Margaret's house. A man rolled down the window. "Are you Margaret?" "Yes." "I'm Marcus, Daniel's friend." Margaret got into the vehicle. 40 minutes later, they arrived at an abandoned warehouse. The door slowly opened. A man stepped into the light. Margaret's eyes filled with tears. Daniel! He looked thinner and older, but it was him, alive. She ran to him and hugged him tightly. "I thought I lost you." "I'm sorry," he said. Suddenly, Marcus looked toward the road. "We have company." Headlights appeared outside the warehouse. Several cars screeched to a stop. Then a familiar voice echoed through the building. "Well, this is quite the reunion." Emily stepped inside. 2 men stood behind her. She smiled coldly. "You really should have stayed dead, Daniel." Margaret felt fear rising inside her. $3 million is a lot of money to lose," Emily said. Daniel stepped forward. "You tried to kill me." Emily shrugged. "You discovered something you were not supposed to know." "What did he discover?" Margaret asked. Emily laughed. "Daniel found out that my partners and I have been trafficking people." Margaret gasped. "He was planning to report us. So we arranged the accident." Marcus stepped in front of Margaret as the men moved closer. "Take them," Emily ordered. The men began walking forward. Daniel clenched his fists. The night had finally caught up with them. Only one side would walk away. Before we reveal what happens next, tell us in the comments what Daniel should do. Should he run or should he fight? If you enjoyed this story, like the video and subscribe for more suspense stories, because the next story might be even darker.